YouTube, what is going on? We got another haircut tutorial for you, and this one is a mullet. Yes, a mullet. I told you guys a few videos back, mullets are becoming a thing. So let's walk you through this mullet. So we're gonna section off the hair from the parietal ridge. We're gonna work on the side of his head using scissor work first. And so I'm gonna take small, probably 1/2 inch to 1 inch sections, cut the desired length, and what we're working on here is keeping a squared shape followed through to the back, where at some point we're gonna be over directing everything to the side of his head, and you'll see what I'm talking about. If you don't have control, man, it's okay to re-grab the hair. Them damn gloves, I know you guys saw me cut them. Alright, so anyways, this is the last section. I believe had to put on another pair of gloves, but this is the last section. At this point, we're going to stay here, and everything that we grab past this point is going to be over directed or pulled towards the side of the head. And what that technique does is it allows to keep length in the back, because with a mullet you want to keep that length, right? Alright, so at this point, again, we're stopping and we're just grabbing everything and pulling it to the side of his head. We're over directing the hair, and that's going to allow us to maintain that length in the back. It's all getting pulled to that same section. Alright, and I always like to do a little bit of scissor comb just to refine it and make sure everything's nice and even. It's cross-checking, right? Alright, so now that we've cut the sides and we've maintained a lot of the length here in the back, what I'm going to focus on now is flattening it in the back so it's not too bulky, right? It's not like adding too much weight here in the back, so we can flatten it some by cutting it squared in the back but leaving the length at the bottom, right? So that's what I'm attempting to do. His hair is really thick, so I probably could get away with going really short back there and it's still looking like a mullet, but it's my first time giving him a mullet, so I wanted to be safe. Alright, so once we've cut the back, we're gonna do the same thing here on the top. We're creating that profile parting that is going to carry through from the back profile parting that we did all the way up to the top, and now this is gonna be our length on the top. So now that we have that section, we have our desired length, and now we can take horizontal sections and use that as our guide. Making sure that we're keeping our fingers nice and squared, cutting flat, straight lines. right? At this point, I'm using my razor, and I'm gonna go ahead and cut texture into it. We just want to break it up a little bit. We want it to have some nice texture, because I find like if it doesn't have movement, if it doesn't have a texture, a lot of times it could look like way too bulky, right? So that's a technique that I use with the razor. Alright, so the shear work is complete. We're gonna go ahead and blow dry his hair and prepare it for the clipper work. And you can already see a lot of that texture that we created with the razor. You put some product in there, and it's just gonna enhance the haircut overall. Alright, so he didn't want a bald taper, he wanted a shadow taper. So we're gonna use the clipper all the way open to start our first guideline. And then from there, we're gonna taper it like we would do any other taper. So number 1 open is next. And now we're gonna use the half guard to go ahead and blend that guideline out. Open and close the lever as needed. I believe here we're using the number 2. The color correction kind of messed up the color a little bit, but yeah. And then right underneath the number 2, we're using the 1.5 guard. Again, opening, closing that as needed. I typically like to start open and close as I go down. And then if it needs a little bit of detailing with that number 1 guard open again, I will do that. So at this point, we're using our number 3 because above where we left off with that number 2, it still looked a little bulky. So we're using that number 3 guard. And it's all the way closed right now. Then we went right underneath that back to the number 2 purple guard. His hair was really difficult because it's super thick. He's got some grays in there. He's got like that salt and pepper vibe. The shorter it gets, and this is the first time he's ever gotten this haircut, so I'm kind of like trying to figure it out as I go. So we did a little bit of scissor over comb. It wasn't doing the job like I wanted it to, so I just went to a number 4 guard all the way closed and started, trial and erroring my way through. And that's all right. It's gonna, like, no matter how long you've been cutting, you're gonna have to go to the trial and error, method at some point. And what I did here was I started closing the clipper a little bit instead of just being blade open, because I wanted to see a little bit of more gradients. So I did close it up about halfway at the bottom of that taper just to get a little bit tighter. At this point, we are doing, I believe, a number 1 guard open on his beard, and now we're gonna go ahead and fade it in. So no guard, closing it as needed until it's blended. And then right below that, I'm using my half guard, because remember, we cut the beard down to a 1 open. So between that blade open and that 1 open, you needed that half guard to really make that transition. It's looking pretty good. Now let's do the other side. I'll let you guys follow along, and I'll shut up for a little bit. Shout out my cousin Tito for the beats. And guys, if you're enjoying the vlogs, please let your boy know, man. I'm gonna try to almost daily drop, between vlogs and tutorials. And then I had the money channel, guys, and I still have, and I still plan on posting every now and then, but it's not gonna be my focus. The vlogs are gonna be the lifestyle of barbering, and it's gonna include a lot of business tips, entrepreneur tips, family, lifestyle. Like, barbering isn't just hair cutting, it's also lifestyle. And to me, it provides one of the best lifestyles you could think of. So I want to show that to the world, and hopefully you guys find the vlogs entertaining. Let me know in the comments if you do. this side was a little bit more difficult just because of the hair growth pattern. You can see it starts to grow back like at an angle to the left behind the ear. So it's gonna be tough to get that to look the same color tone all the way through on the taper. So we're gonna spend probably more time detailing this side of his taper than we did on the first side. Yeah, so you can see I'm using, what I opted to do is use the shears. I opted to use the shears to kind of help control that area and try to blend it in a little bit better. And then here, it was just too bulky in this area in my opinion. So I just started flattening it out some more, just cutting some length, cutting a little bit more length there just to get it a little bit flatter. But his hair is so thick, man. So with the beard, I used the one open all the way around except in the mustache area because that's the most like coarse, thickest area. So I went down to like a #1 guard close to try and match it up a little bit better. And so what I'm doing now is I'm doing the rough draft with my trimmers, but watch how the razor, especially on this client right here, how the razor just makes this haircut just next level. I know I say that every cut, but especially on this client, you're gonna see what I'm talking about. And this is a technique I like to use after I line it up, since I already had the trimmer in my hands. And if you know anything about these trimmers, these babeless trimmers, you could hear the hair is cutting. So I really love doing trimmer over comb with them and just hearing the hair kind of fly off that it's cutting. And I'm even free-handed some of these because his hair is so coarse, it just kind of sticks out. You can just freehand it. Alright, and if you watched the last mullet tutorial that I did, then you know about this technique. This is super important to make sure that the hair has more movement at the bottom, and that's an important part of a mullet, especially a shorter mullet. You don't want it to be just kind of just a whole bunch of weight on the neck. You want it to have some movement. Alright, and so I'm doing scissor over comb here to try to flatten it some more so it's not so bulky back there. But where if you notice, I stayed above the length, and now I'm just trying to connect it to the length without shortening the length. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Alright, same thing here. So all this weight right here, we're gonna take some off just to make it flatter while still maintaining that length behind the ear. This is just detail work with shears, right? And now we're gonna go ahead and detail with clippers. And at this part, we're just customizing the cut. We don't do cookie cutter haircuts here. We try to do nice haircuts that fit that person's hair texture, head shape, all those things to make it the best possible haircut on that particular client. But from this angle, the cut is looking pretty tough. I mean, it's a mullet, and I know some of you guys won't get it, but that's a tough mullet, yo. I think it's a nice mullet. Alright guys, so we're gonna go ahead and use the Tennessee Barber Expo Clean Cuts Edition Shave Gel, and we're gonna go ahead and put in this razor work to get the sharpest lines, man. Look already the difference that it's making on the C cup. So here on his beard, it's a little bit weaker, like on the top of the beard, but I didn't want to push it down too much, the line. I feel like it'll grow back, and it'll be, you know, next time he gets his haircut, his barber can make sure that it's even on both sides. So I'm not gonna kind of force it and push that line down. All right, so like what I do with the razor is I kind of just try to focus on the line, making it sharp, and then I clear the bulk with the shaver to get a nice, comfortable experience, but a nice finished look as well. All right, and now we're gonna use Tomb 45 pure powder. You can get it at tomb45.com. The link is always on the top right corner or the top left corner. But I also teach my clients how to apply, and I show them that I put it in my hands, and then I spread it throughout the hair that way. And look at the texture, look at the pieces and stuff that powder kind of enhances that texture. You know what I mean? It's gonna wash away. They're gonna have to redo it again. That's why products enhance a great haircut. You shouldn't depend on product to create a good haircut, to create shape and texture. That comes from the haircut. The products enhance it. So guys, this is the before. Now look at the after. Guys, if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. If you like the cut, smash the like button and let me know what you think in the comments below, guys. As always, love y'all, appreciate y'all support, and we'll be dropping some more heat probably tomorrow, so stay tuned.